Hey guys, what's up? This is Little Pickers, and welcome to my character guide. Today we're gonna be starting off with, I think, one of the most used characters in online, debatably tied with Beast Gohan. We're gonna be talking about Ultra Instinct Goku. I'm gonna be going over both of his faces, going over his combos, kit, how you should approach their playstyle, and how you can exploit their abilities to get the most out of your character, right? So, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the Hyperbolic Time Chamber and start with Goku. Alright guys, so before we start, there is one more thing that I want to touch upon, and it's that for characters such as this one that have multiple transformations, I am gonna be going over each form, mainly because as you go progress through the battle, not all forms, even within the same character, play out the same. So seeing that each character will have slightly different kits and even movesets, I thought it's best that we go over each one so that you can understand how each one plays and how to approach it in a more dynamic way. Right, that being said, now let's jump into the video. Okay, so for starters, let's go over Goku's melee kit. So at the first one we have Gut Punch, then we have Ki Blast, then Flying Kicks, and last but not least we have the other Gut Punch. Alright, you can call it Gut Kick, I guess, technicalities, but for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna keep calling it Gut Punch. Now, how do we want to approach this from a more tactical point of view? As I mentioned earlier, you have the Gut Punch as your first rush chain action, which is really good. As I mentioned, it takes priority over stalemates, so if you and your opponent are clutching fists, you can just whip this out and there you go. It's also really good for characters that are much weaker in the game. For example, Master Roshi versus Super Saiyan, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. If Roshi jumps in with his rush attack, it's not really gonna stagger Broly. Broly has sort of this super armor, and it's a common trend. If you do it with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I think it's also gonna happen that way. So for those instances, you wanna go ahead and go for the Gut Punch first thing, or as soon as you see an opening, right? Because this is what's gonna break their super armor, and then you'll be able to stagger them with your rush attacks. So that's one really good thing to know. As we mentioned, for his second attack, he has the Ki Blast Cannon. It's not bad. I'd say it's a pretty decent option to have there, honestly. You can charge it up, and this is gonna give you a little bit of super armor, so you can sort of catch your opponent off guard with it and just win the interaction. You can follow it up with this way. You don't have to charge it all the way. That should be enough. For the next one, we have Flying Kicks. And this one I think is one of the best options, or one of Goku's better chain rush attacks. Main reason is because if you notice, a lot of players tend to block here or block low. That's the case for me, for example. I don't really have a habit of blocking high, which can come costly in high-level gameplay, because a lot of the top-tier characters that you'll see playing in CS ranks have flying kicks, but they have it at the beginning, which is really good, because if your opponent has a chance to block, you whip out the flying kicks and you break through their defense right away. So that leaves your opponent open for you to start playing around with your combo, and just it allows for a very easy setup, is what I'm trying to say. You're most of the time gonna be breaking through your opponent's defense this way. So that's why Flying Gets is really good. If he had it to the first one, it would be even better. But again, this is also good. It's not a bad option, and a lot of characters have the Gut Punch as their step in. Goku has the Ki Blast Cannon, which can be good for you to I guess you could say to win the interaction, like stagger your opponent and break through and start your own combo. The main takeaway that I want you guys to have from this is Gut Punch is good for stalemates and also to break super armor, which I don't think this Goku's ever gonna need, but note that this is more of a universal law. So that's also gonna be very useful for you to know for other characters that have steppers with Gut Punch. And to break your opponent's through your opponent's defense, go for the Flying Kicks. It's a little bit late in the rush chain, but if you manage to get to it and land it, from there I think it's gonna be a lot easier. You just need to play it cool and trust in the combos you've practiced. Alright? Now we're gonna go ahead and move over into Goku's damage output and how you can play around with that. Alright guys, so how I want to manage this is I'm going to be first going over Goku's damage output in each category. So it's going to be the basic rush, then his blast attack, his second blast attack, and then his ultimate. And from there I'm going to be going a little bit more in depth into his skill abilities, what he can do with his skill points, and how you can play around with that to just make this Goku even more menacing. So for starters, let's go with his basic rush, which is the 5 square inputs. There you go. So there you can see that I did 3,485 damage. You want to keep that in mind, guys, because it is going to be important to have that present later down. As for his blast attack, he has this really neat cutscene blast attack animation, which dealt 9,600 damage, which is also a lot. For perspective, guys, a full health bar is worth about 10,000 points. So yeah, Goku's blast attack can take away almost an entire bar of health. As for his second blast attack, it's a high speed rush that also deals a damage. You're gonna see that's gonna be a very common trend. Here he did 11,000 damage, so that's more than one health bar. And well, of course we have the coup de grace, which is his ultimate. And we have a total of 20,250 damage that he did. That's literally 2 health bars and just a tad bit more. So yeah, this Goku is meant to deal out damage, to dish out a lot of damage and just make the most out of it. The best damage ever you could find. Nowhere else are you gonna see damage like this one. Trust me, I'm an expert on damage. Very lovely place, it's wonderful. And sorry guys, I got off track there. Okay, now let's go over his kit real quick, his skill points. So he has 2 abilities. One is called Even Greater Potential, and the other one is You'll Never Beat Me. So for Even Greater Potential, I'm gonna... Oh well, take a look at my health bar. There you go. So I just got a full charge of ki and buff in the offense and defense. And if we go into the explanation of controls, here it's gonna actually tell you what exactly is going on. So you got attack, defense, and this one doesn't appear there. Speed increase for 15 seconds. So now this guy dishes out even more damage. See? 3,700 damage is now what he does. Previously that was 3,400, now that's a 300 increase. It's not gonna affect, you wanna keep a close eye on that, because what this is boosting is my physical damage. If I hit him with a Kamehameha, it's not gonna, oh well, it did just a tad bit more, but not much, it's not very noteworthy if we're being honest. So this is mainly for if you like dishing out combos, or if you have those really tight combos and combo resets with this Goku, then this buff is really good. And not only that, like, you also move a little bit faster, and you also take less damage from your opponent. So you're gonna be a lot harder to hit. And even if they do manage to land any damage on any hits on you, you're still gonna be able to tank them like a champ. And I think, well, not I think, to me the most OP thing about this is you get all of your ki back. With how important ki is in this game, managing it is a little bit more of an option for MUI Goku players. Well, not MUI, this Goku signed Ultra Instinct Goku. Man, those names, we really gotta work on those names. So that's just his first ability. Like I mentioned, being able to just automatically charge all of your ki back, it does cost 3 skill points. So it's not something that's going to be very easy for the other guy to spam, unless he's very tactical and careful about them. But it's still a really good tool to have at your disposal, because having the ability to just automatically charge your ki that way and keep putting the pressure on your opponent, yeah, this Goku can play out very nasty. And not only that, but you get a damage buff, as I mentioned before. Really OP. So right off the bat, I think that's one of the best things this Goku has in his toolkit. It definitely makes up for his melee kit. Again, it's not the worst one, but you'll see why later. Why I'm saying that. And as for his last ability, obviously he has the Insta Sparking. Now this one is ugly, because as you can see there, now my Ki Blast attack damage does more, and my ultimates also do more. So here I'm just gonna do his basic high speed rush attack. See, so there we got 1,000 more damage, 12,000. And you can boost that even further, like, look. And then you boost it down here. Dude, 16,000 damage. This normally does 11,000, and you can bump it up all the way to 16,000. That's insane. And we're still not even, we're not done with this guy. You can obviously stack this up. So now you're gonna be you're full offense mode. And what's even better about this is, look, I launched my ultimate, right? And I think you noticed this. You noticed it from my earlier example. Here you're gonna see just how much damage this guy did. 21,000. That's a lot more. I know you can compare the amounts there. First, look at that. I still preserve the buffs that I had from the instant sparking. So you can still make the most out of that. Like, sending out your ultimate is not gonna be the end all be all. You can still gain even more momentum with this guy. It's insane. Obviously, we also have Goku's famous auto dodge mechanic. So obviously, this is gonna be this also wastes ki, but there you go. Okay, but you sort of get the idea. The guy can auto dodge also. Obviously, we all knew about that. And the fact that it costs ki isn't really that big of a deal because you also have this. So that's a pretty good way for you to balance it. Now, the last thing that I did want to Jiren, chill. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about before moving on to the next form is this. Well, that's terrible timing. It's this. Sorry guys, I just love being dramatic. So, first things first, before we dive into the character, again, just a quick parenthesis. If you choose this character from the character select screen, you will start off with 4 bars of health. Why would I advise you to start with Ultra Instinct Saiyan Goku instead? Because when you transform, you get that extra health bar. So if I was on my last bar of health and I managed to transform, I get another bar of health right over there. So it's a really good way for you to overturn the tides in a little bit in your favor. But yeah, everybody hates this character still, so I'm just adding fuel to the fire, I guess. But yeah, that being said, guys, let's go ahead and start with Goku's kit. Now, here, things are gonna step up a lot. Remember the previous version, I was saying that he was geared towards a lot of damage output? This guy is even worse. So, remember what I said about flying kicks? He has it on his first chain reaction. So yeah, right off the bat, that's a really good thing for him to have. His next attack is the gut punch. His next rush chain action is the gut punch, which, again, really good. I think it's a very sweet spot because, see, my opponents. Let's see. Okay, let's show this. Training settings. I always struggle with this thing. There we go. So there he's blocking. See, you can. He's doing like a frame perfect thing or something, but usually you will be able to break out of this. So my point is, this is pretty much just showing what I was talking about earlier. First chain action can be your flying kicks, and then you can go for the Jesus, dude. And then you can go for the gut punch. Now, why would you want to do it like this? You stun. See? Okay, there I missed because usually this is better. This performs better in the air. But you can see where I'm going with this. Having this right at that, I think it's a sweet spot because you break through, and then you stun. Break through, stun. See? So having the gut punch in that second slot, I think is a wonderful place for this character, because the flying kicks work as a setup for it. It helps you break through your opponent's guard, and then you can just go for the stun. Now the next one is where I really think this is also something I think is very meta in the game, and that's the rolling hammer. Now why is that? Now why am I saying rolling hammer is so good? Normally your opponent will have 4 options when it comes to blocking you from the front. He can block mid, low, or high. Rolling hammer is a good option because if you charge it just enough, it doesn't have to be a lot. You will have the ability to bypass their defenses and turn your opponent around. And this is such a good thing to have, because from behind they don't have these options. They can't block, no matter even if they call out where you're going to be attacking them from. And on top of that, the revenge counter, which is so easy to activate, if they're facing the other way, they can't activate it. So you've just essentially gotten rid of 4 options for them to get out of your combos. Of course, you still have the explosive wave and the super counters, but you're limiting their options even more because now they have to rely on one of those. And if they're not good with their super counters, then you're just gonna have a hell of a time, trust me. So another way that you can approach this is flying kicks. Is flying kicks, and then you turn them around, and then you go for the stun. So you break through the guard, you stun them, you do a combo reset, and then it's just Disney from that point on, right? So that's why I wasn't crapping on this Goku's base form's melee kit. It's good, but this one is even better. You break through early, you can turn your opponent around, and you can also stun them. And for the last one, I think you saw it. He has the Ki Blast Cannon. I think that's a really good place for you to have it, because the other two are going to be so crucial for you to win interactions. These 3 tools are going to be critical to win interactions. And on top of that, remember what I said? This Goku has Gut Punch as a step-in. So that's also a really good way, because you wouldn't necessarily have to break through your opponent's guard. You can just step in and charge it a little bit and break through it. So that's another option that you have. Alright, so yeah, this Goku can be a lot more nasty. If you know what you're doing with him, you're gonna be dishing out a damage, and you're gonna be taking wins left and right, man. Trust me. Okay, so same dynamic as before. Now that we've gone over MUI Goku's melee kit, now I want to go over just his basic damage output, and again, afterwards we're gonna look into how he can combine these things to make the most out of the character. Okay, so his basic rush right off the bat it does a lot more damage. So that's almost 4,000 that he dishes out with a basic combo. Just the standard 5 square input, right? For his first blast attack, you can charge it, but if you don't charge it, it's gonna be dishing out about, yeah, you saw it there, like 9,900. Sorry, no, that was like 10,000. There you go, 9,975. So yeah, it's almost 10,000. So it's almost a full bar of health that you're taking away. Next up is this high-speed rush attack, which is just really OP. Look at that. It teleports you right in front of your opponent. If your opponent is a little bit laggy or is not being careful, this is a really great way for you to catch them off guard. And it also works with those characters that are trying to do that, or not characters, those players that run away and use the environment to protect themselves and try to pull up, activate their instant sparking. This is a great response to that. I actually had a video where an MUI Goku uses this attack when I'm sleeping as Beerus. He was really far away, so it was the best option, obviously, and it also dishes out a shit 11,000, just as the previous one, but I think this one's a little bit higher. And well, of course we have the ultimate to end all ultimates, the Supreme Kamehameha. Kind of a letdown, if I'm being honest. He's just charging a very powerful Kamehameha. But what isn't a letdown is that damage. There you go, 21,000. And that's without boosts or anything. He doesn't have any buffs here. It's just his raw input.
That's what she said.
Now, let's go in over his skill abilities. I don't know how to call them. I'll call them skill abilities until I learn their actual name. He has Ultra Movement, which is essentially just Wild Instinct or Wild Sense. It's not bad. I think it's good. It's definitely not in a full charge like his base form has. But it is good because this Goku, as you can see, he's all about the combos. Break through, you stun, turn around. Okay, let's pretend that worked. And you just keep going, right? You can... Wait. Look where he is. And I can still nail it. See? This is the kind of thing that I wanted to point out. Obviously, it's not going to do as much damage because the game has a limiter when you string ultimates and combos. But it's still a good way to secure a little bit extra damage, right? You just make sure that you're taking away like 2,000 more from what your standard combo would do. So that's really good. So yeah, as I was saying, he's more about combos. So having Wild Sense is not a bad ability, by all means. It does have its downside that it commits you to an attack, so you have to be careful because if your opponent calls out the Wild Sense, he is gonna work around it. So it's fairly easy to counter, but then again, this Goku still also has the auto dodge feature, so I guess in a sense it could be worse. They could have given him something like full charge and just made him extremely OP. Like at that point, I would pretty much just think, let's turn off the game and let's go home, man. Turn off the lights and let's just head back home. Now, for his last ability, obviously we have another instant sparking, but this one's even worse. Look at all of that. He gains a buff in everything. We call this an Omni Boost in RPG games. This is what he essentially has. He dishes out more damage. Oh. He can take more damage, and he can charge ki faster. His blast attacks also do more damage. Like, remember earlier we did 21,000 damage. Yes, it can go higher. And it's the same thing with his instant sparking in his base form. He still preserves all of those buffs. So the one in the middle is basically saying the guy can charge ki faster. So you can just go all ham on this poor person because your buffs still. Look at that. He's still ongoing. Look at that. Almost 10,000 with just one combo with those buffs. Yeah, this Goku is nasty. So all in all, is Goku a good character? Yes, it is. I mean, it's obvious clickbait at this point. This guy is insane. He dishes out damage. His combos are literally designed for you to just make the most out of it. Break through your opponent's attack on hand-to-hand combat, break through your opponent's defense, sorry, on hand-to-hand combat, and just go completely apeshit on the poor people. If you don't have a really good defense against these kind of players, like this guy in the hands of a casual player is enough of a challenge. This guy in the hands of a really good player is scary. And I've had the misfortune of dealing with characters that do understand, with players who do understand the character and who do know how they can make the most out of this guy. It's just insane. So yeah guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for checking out the video. Hope you guys liked it. What do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments below if there's anything that you think I might have missed or that you would have liked me to look into. I'm gonna be doing more of these videos with more characters. If you have anyone in mind that you would like me to go over, let me know down in the comments below. And that's gonna be it. Guys, thank you very much for checking out the video, and I hope you all stay safe. Have a good one. I'll be going over each one of their transformations as I mentioned. And well, blah blah.